So we have a few really important things to talk about. Number one on the docket is YouTube cares a lot about you. That's right. They care so much about you. They want to censor the stuff that you can see on that platform, but not things that involve cursing or sexual material or killing or calls for violence. No, those are not the things that they're going to censor. They want to censor ideas, and not just ideas, but information that they disagree with, information that perhaps I could bring you on a channel like this, where I many times give you an opposite point of view of what you see on the mainstream media sites out there, because the mainstream media sites are silent on much of the information you need to know about. So what in fact is YouTube going to censor? They're going to censor videos that they believe are showing that there's some sort of continued fraud or corruption or miscalculations or anomalies that occurred in the election in 2020 in the United States of America. According to YouTube, there is no fraud. There is no corruption. The election was done perfectly well, and you need to stop talking about it. And I need to stop talking about it. This is their guidelines right here. They say we prohibit spam, scam, and other manipulated media. Since September, we've terminated over 8,000 channels of thousands of harmful and misleading election-related videos for violating our existing policies. I don't know. How does that make you feel that YouTube banned over 8,000 channels? Does that make you feel safer? Oh no, there was people out there, 8,000 channels of people out there who are putting out information about our elections, and YouTube banned them. I feel so much safer because of that now. So going forward, they're saying that because yesterday was the safe harbor deadline for the United States presidential election, and the states have certified their election results, that at this point, they don't want to see any more videos that are showing that there could be fraud or corruption or manipulation or anomalies or whatever it is you want to call it. They don't want any more of it. Of course, if it's newsworthy enough or information worthy enough, they'll allow it to slide. If you're a viewer of this channel, you will note this: YouTube has not taken down any of my videos. So either they're not looking, they don't know about me, or if their computer systems have looked at my videos, they've determined that there was enough information there where they didn't have to take it down. I don't know which one it is. Are they going to take this video down? Probably not. I'm giving enough good information, right? I would think. I just don't like censorship. I'm not a fan. Matter of fact, I'm not sure why liberals don't understand that the Democrats have actually flipped platforms with Republicans. And what I mean is this: if you guys remember the Republicans of the late 80s and the 90s, they were all about censorship. Remember the music industry and the video game industry? We had Republicans in Congress coming out and saying, we need to ban this music. We need to ban these artists. We need to ban these video games. We need to restrict them and all these other things. And people didn't like that because people don't like censorship. People don't like you stopping their freedom of information. If people want to talk about aliens, let them talk about aliens. If they want to talk about Bigfoot, let them talk about Bigfoot. Matter of fact, you can watch the channels on TV. I don't know which channel is it. History, Discovery. They have Bigfoot things on all the time. Is Bigfoot real? Come on, ladies and gentlemen. If Bigfoot was real, we would have found Bigfoot already. We all know Bigfoot's not real. But that doesn't stop. Please, if you're a Bigfoot believer, don't in the comment section below go ahead and start saying, I can't follow you anymore. I thought you were with it. You don't believe in the Bigfoot. You don't believe in the Yeti. Now I'm against you. We have production companies that make episode after episode and season after season about aliens and Bigfoots. We don't censor that because it's information. People want to listen to it. They can listen to it. What about magazines? You remember the old tabloid magazines that you would get that would have all this racy information on it? We don't censor it. How about when our own government creates nonsense like the fact that Trump actually had some connections with Russia and that he used Russia and Russia used him to manipulate the election results in 2016? There was a 3.5-year investigation on that, and it found bupkis on President Trump. Zippo, after millions of dollars being wasted. But you know who pushed that story? The mainstream media. Did YouTube censor that? No. They were pushing factually incorrect information. When they were saying Donald Trump was connected with, Donald Trump was involved with, Russia did this, it was a lie. L-I-E. Fake. False. After 3.5 years, proven to be false and fake. Did YouTube say, we got to censor all that stuff? We got to protect people? Of course they didn't, because they agreed with it. However, even though I knew it was fake, and a lot of you out there watching my channel, you knew it was fake, I still wouldn't want YouTube to censor it because I don't like censorship. If it's just ideas and information, stop the censorship. I don't care if it's somebody I disagree with. I don't want them to be censored. If it's somebody that I agree with, oh, but information, it could be harmful. Please stop it with that. We live in 2020. You can get information from many different platforms in many different ways. But the idea that YouTube is unilaterally preventing the things that they see are wrong is ridiculous. And not only that, but this isn't even over yet. Even the Supreme Court is not accepting the results yet, not officially. Why? Because we know that Texas has brought a lawsuit directly to the Supreme Court saying that they believe the results that were found in 4 different states are not constitutionally acceptable. So even the Supreme Court isn't accepting YouTube's idea that, well, you know, there's a soft date and so the election is all done. If it was all done, then there would be no more Supreme Court looking into this at all. But what happened? We know that Texas brought a lawsuit against Georgia, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. All 4 of these states must bring a response to the Supreme Court by 3 p.m. today. Now, the Supreme Court could have said, we're not going to even look at this, but they didn't say that. They said, you know what? There's something to this. There's enough to this. We want a response from these states before we decide to take it on. Because many people would ask, well, why does the Supreme Court want a response? What are they looking to do? Well, either they're going to want to reply to the states. They're going to want to reply from the states. They're going to want to grant the order for the lawsuit. They're going to want to get oral arguments, or they're going to deny the case. They're going to do one of those things. They still haven't decided which one they're going to do, which basically debunks YouTube's own argument. The fact that, oh, you know what, there's this, you know, the electoral states, they over it. Not according to the Supreme Court, it's not over yet. So if the highest court of our land hasn't determined that it's over yet, why in the world is the private organization or company, YouTube, Google, whatever, you know, connection it is, why are they making that determination to censor information? What is Texas trying to do? This is what it is in a nutshell. They are basically saying that these 4 states violated the Constitution in the decisions that they made. And because they violated the Constitution, it created results in those 4 states that diluted the Electoral College and caused the voters of Texas, which voted correctly. There is no discrepancies in Texas. Texas doesn't have the Dominion machines. Their governor didn't change up things. The state Supreme Court of Texas did not switch up the rules without the legislation agreeing with it. Texas didn't do any of that. They followed the Constitution. Unfortunately, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Michigan, and Wisconsin didn't do that. In each of these states, they all did different things that seemed to be against or violating one of 2 different constitutional protections. The one is the equal protection under the law, violating equal protection, meaning the citizens of Texas should have equal protection under the constitutional law as the citizens of Michigan. But if Michigan doesn't abide by the Constitution, now you are no longer giving equal protection to Texans because of Michigan's decision. The second constitutional issue they're bringing up is the Electors Clause of the U.S. Constitution, and this goes back to the fact that there is a set standard of rules that must be followed during elections, and the rules are that the legislature is the one that creates the rules for elections. Unfortunately, in many of these states, we saw the governor coming up and saying, well, we're going to allow this. We're going to do this. We're going to let this happen. Well, you can't just say that. The legislature has to do it. It's in the Constitution. Then the Supreme Courts backed up the governors, and the Supreme Courts, they didn't go to the Constitution. They didn't say, well, the Constitution doesn't really let you do this. They just said because of their ideological values, we're going to allow this to happen. It's unprecedented times. It's going to be okay. So that doesn't seem constitutional, and it allowed voting to occur in these states that essentially switched over the presidency to Joe Biden. Texas doesn't like that. It doesn't give their citizens equal protection, and it violates the Elector Clause. This is what they brought to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court looked at that information and they said, you know what? there's something here. We're not going to just take the case, but you know what we are going to do? We're going to move forward with the case and ask these states to respond, because we're going to be interested in what their response is going to be. And how are these states going to respond to them? Well, we don't really know what they're going to say. Well, our Supreme Court said it was okay, so we felt like it was good to go. I bet you the Supreme Court's going to be real interested in what each of these states is going to say, but it debunks YouTube. YouTube says this thing's over. It's all over. We can't have any more videos out there presenting information of fraud or issues or corruption or election problems. It's all over. But the Supreme Court says otherwise. So what should you expect going forward? Well, first off, from this channel, you should expect that I'm going to share with you truth with you no matter what, even what YouTube says. Now, does that mean I'm going to try to parlay things a little bit, make sure I'm fitting in the guidelines? Of course I am. Because I want to stay on YouTube. I want my videos to be out there. Of course, eventually, maybe get monetized. Possibly. I'm pretty sure once they see the channel, they may not monetize. I have no idea. It's ridiculous if they don't. Second, and more importantly than this channel and its monetization, is what's going to go on with this presidency. The states must respond by today, Thursday, by 3 p.m. After they respond, the Supreme Court is going to look at those responses and they're going to make a determination. The only determination that's really bad for President Donald Trump is going to be if they deny the case. If they flat out look at the responses, they look at the situation, they deny it. This is my thinking, okay? And this is just my personal opinion. I believe that these states violated the Constitution. I also believe that many of the Supreme Court justices realize that they also violated the Constitution. Even if you're a lefty out there, let's stay level here, okay? The Constitution's pretty clear. When it comes to election rules and laws, the legislature is the one that's supposed to design them, and that is supposed to be upheld. The reason they don't let governors and Supreme Courts either change them or upheld a change that's not constitutional is for protection for equal rights of citizens, protection under the Constitution, violations, manipulations. There's a reason why it's in there. But that didn't happen this time around because there was a pandemic. And so if there's a pandemic, then we can violate the Constitution. And oddly enough, the Supreme Courts in these states upheld that, which is not what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to only look at the Constitution. So I believe there's actually a really good argument to say that, in fact, and this is not just because of my ideological values, but even if I was a liberal, I would probably admit to, yeah, they probably did violate the Constitution here. But you know what? People voted, they got the vote, we counted the votes, and so be it. That's what they did in the states. I think the justices know that. The question is this: even though they know that to be the case, are they going to be willing to say, we are going to throw everything into haywire right now and potentially invalidate those results? Are they going to switch things up like that because they know that this was constitutionally incorrect? Or are they going to take a look at everything and go, you know what? We know that they didn't do the right thing, but the consequences of us picking this up right now are going to be so severe to the United States of America. And what I mean by severe is you are going to see cities burn down. If this thing flips for Trump, cities are going down. There is going to be rioting and chaos like we've never seen before. There is no way we're going to have half of the United States of America, and really the fringe part of that half, that's going to accept this, even if it's constitutionally correct. And I believe it is constitutionally correct. The Supreme Court might just say, you know what? At the end of the day, they messed up. They screwed up. We can work on this going forward within the government. Maybe. I highly doubt it, actually. And we just got to push forward, even though we understand it. Or they're going to pick it up. I don't know which one they're going to do. It's actually a kind of a tough decision, because are you willing to let the United States of America fall into what's going to be one of the most chaotic periods in U.S. history if this thing switches? Because it is technically constitutionally correct. At which point I would say, you know what? You got to uphold the constitutional rights. If you don't uphold the rights of the Constitution, then what else do you got, really? Or are they going to say it's simply not worth it to bring this up? This is not a situation and a time in which we should allow the United States to move into a time period of such chaos. Therefore, even though we might disagree with what the states did, we're going to allow it to ride. That's going to be the question. So we're going to have to see the responses from the states right now. The Supreme Court is going to hear them. They're going to determine in their own minds whether they think there's a case for a trial here or a hearing. And then if there's a case for whether or not they're willing to accept what is going to be the outcome, which may result in absolute chaos. So we're going to have to see how that all goes down. But, you know, YouTube, censorship, come on now. Stop it with the censorship, please. Liberals out there, why are you moving to censorship now? Why are you becoming the Republicans of the 80s and the 90s? Do you realize that if you're a lefty out there, that the liberals are actually becoming like the Republicans of the 80s and the 90s? The worst parts of the Republicans that we didn't like, the parts where they wanted to shut down industries and stop people from doing things. I get it. I'm a parent. I don't want my kid playing violent games. I don't want my kid listening to terrible music, but I am not going to stop somebody's freedoms or rights to be able to do something because I don't want them stopping my freedoms and rights. So stop it with the censorship, because you're bringing up the worst parts of what many people didn't like back then, but now it's the liberals who are doing it, and I don't even know if they realize they are the ones who are doing it. So, and by the way, the Supreme Court is not done with this anyway. So what's up with your YouTube censorship of these videos? Hope you guys enjoyed the information on this one. We will continue to keep you guys all up to date.